Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. We've got another big college football game to preview for you. It's an SEC battle between Florida and Tennessee. And guys, I know I had this one circled on my calendar from last year. I didn't like the ending of it, and I'm sure Tennessee had circled it as well. I was on Tennessee pretty big last year. In this one, they had a big lead, and Butch Jones once again takes his foot off the gas. Let Florida come storming back. What do you guys think of this one this year?
You know, I think Tennessee's got a lot of circles with the Florida name in it. 11 straight wins now for Florida. And there's a point in time where, you're looking at, is a team looking for revenge, or is the team so far into your head mentally? And I think that's the issue now. Even the Tennessee paper had mentioned that this morning, that, after 11 losses, you start to feel psyched out. Last year, of course, 27-14 lead into the fourth quarter. Florida scores a touchdown, hold Tennessee 3 and out, and on 4th and 14, a 69-yard touchdown pass. Now, I was talking to Mark Lawrence, and of course, you may know his newsletter, The Playbook, and he gave me a great stat. In the last 23 games between Florida and Tennessee, Florida has only lost one of those games by over 3 points. I mean, think about that. That's a quarter of a decade, longer than most of these people. The players weren't even born the last time. So 23 years, one loss. At that point, you're going into the game hoping you don't do something stupid to lose, and that's when you always struggle to play your best.
Yeah, I mean, last year again, and that was like the second time last year that Tennessee blew a big lead where they got conservative in the second half. Do you think, though, they learn a lesson if they're able to get some separation this year, not to take their foot off the gas and to keep rolling with it? But we haven't seen this offense, other than the Virginia Tech game, be explosive, but they were aided by a ton of turnovers in that Virginia Tech game.
I don't think there's going to be any time where they got such a big lead that they need to turn it off. And I know the reason you mentioned that is because you probably lost on that one too, because they were your nemesis last year.
They were. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It was the Oklahoma game.
But coming into the season, Tennessee was highly thought of. They were going to win that side of the bracket in the SEC. When are people going to realize, have they watched Tennessee play? They're not nearly as good as what we thought they were going to be. They had the game where they covered against Virginia Tech. That was a weird circumstance, playing on a racing track. I think that was the first game for Virginia Tech. So it's a situation where Tennessee comes into this game. I was very surprised by the line. Now, part of it is because Florida's using a backup quarterback here. But if you were to ask me who's the better team, there's no doubt in my mind that Florida's the better team. You ask me what is the best unit on the field, it's the Florida defense. I really expect Florida to manhandle this Tennessee offense and keep this as a low-scoring game. And as we talked in the prior video, if in a low-scoring game, it gives more of an advantage to the underdog.
I agree with you 100% that the best unit on the field is the Florida defense. But, Ralph, I'm going to go to you, and I'm going to say what Bryan says about Tennessee. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. And they've had 3 games, and they've only had the one good game. But I'm going to say that first game against Appalachian State, were they looking at past Appalachian State to that big game with Virginia Tech in the Speed Dome, playing at the Speedway with 150,000 people going to be there, and was last week a letdown spot after playing that big game with Florida on deck? I mean, I like to look at schedules and situational spots, and that's what's screaming to me that let's not sell out on Tennessee yet. If they're bad this week, then I'll leave them alone.
Nobody overlooks week 1. There are no look-aheads in week 1.
When you're playing Appalachian State, talk to Michigan a few years ago.
Yeah. Let me point this out. Appalachian State has done nothing since that game. Yeah. So Appalachian State isn't very good. Ohio is a middling MAC team. I'm just saying.
Now, are they looking past them? I don't think after the Appalachian State game you're going to look past Ohio again, because Tennessee needs some big wins. He needs the alum, he needs the fan base to support him. Now, we talked about how they beat Virginia Tech handily. They only had 16 first downs. That's not a good offense. That's a team that generated turnovers and benefited from them. I'm going to talk again about the offense and defensive rankings that we'll have up next week at WagerTalk, this team pits 2 of my top 15 defenses. Florida number 4, Tennessee 15. Now, while Florida State is playing a backup quarterback, Austin Appleby did start 12 games at Purdue. He's a grad. He's a senior grad who was fighting for the job this offseason. But even at Purdue, he only had a 19-19 ratio. So again, both teams with offenses that are struggling. Callaway, who's also their top wide receiver, who, by the way, caught that 69-yard touchdown pass.
Thank you.
He missed last game. He's questionable for this game. I'm sure if there's any possibility he can play, he will. But if Florida State's without their top playmaker. Florida, I'm sorry. Without their top playmaker and their starting quarterback, you've got an offensive issue on that side with the best defense. And again, for a second time today, with a low total, I think these first conference games, you get great value with the number, because if these games were played later, we may see totals in the 38-39, but because they're week 3 and the first conference games, I think they're higher by a few points, so there's still some value despite being in the 43.5 range. So for this game, I agree with you, low scoring. I agree Tennessee playing not to lose, no turnovers, conservative. Florida forced to do that without their quarterback. I'm going to give a strong opinion on the under in this game.
Bryan, anything for you?
Under makes sense to me, but I like the Florida side.
All right, I'm going to, go the other side. I'm going to give Tennessee a shot here.
Is this a lunch bet?
Another lunch bet. All right.
You can put your money on Florida. I never lose.
Yeah, look at him. All right, guys, there you have it. Hey, you want to save $10 at WagerTalk this week? Well, we got a special coupon this week, and the coupon code is BUSTER10. That's the word BUSTER in the number 10. In a later video, you'll find out why we're using that coupon. Check it out at WagerTalk. You can use it on any package this weekend. We'll be back with more at WagerTalk.com.